if you're thinking about moving to Las Vegas, or maybe you're just new to Las Vegas and you want to know some of the pros and cons of the city, then you found the right video. Today, I'm going to be going over all of the pros and cons from my point of view for living in the city of Las Vegas. And we're getting after it right now. Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tom Radacci. I'm a local Las Vegas realtor. Today, we're going to be going over the pros and cons of living in Las Vegas. And we're going to start with the cons because I really want you to remember the pros after we're done with this video. The first con of living in Las Vegas: traffic and construction everywhere. So nobody likes sitting in traffic. Nobody. I have never met a single person in my entire life that enjoys sitting in traffic or sitting in construction or anything like that. When I first moved to Las Vegas, I was told by people who lived here all their life that, they jokingly said, yeah, the Nevada State Flower is the orange safety traffic cone that they put out for construction. And I kind of laughed it off and didn't believe them. But let me tell you, I was wrong. There is a lot of construction in the city. It seems like there's always road construction, and it can really put a damper on your day. It can really slow your commute down. It can keep you from getting back home in a timely manner. So that is one thing to consider when moving to Las Vegas. There can be a lot of traffic and a lot of construction, especially if you're driving during, those peak hours like 8 a.m. on the highway or 3 or 4 in the afternoon when people are getting off work. So keep that in mind. The next con, some people think it's a con, is the heat. Yes, it's not a surprise to anybody. Las Vegas is in the desert, right? And deserts get pretty dang hot. So Las Vegas is just like any other desert in that respect. In the summer, it is totally normal to see 110, 115, 120 Fahrenheit degree days. That's totally normal. The thing that is different about a lot of places is there's very, very, very low humidity. So it's high heat, low humidity, and sometimes that balances out on the heat index to like a reasonable temperature, but even that is still usually in like the 90s or in the low hundreds. So if you don't like really hot weather, if you don't like really dry weather, Las Vegas probably isn't the city for you. Or maybe it is, I don't know, that's up to you. The third con, car insurance is expensive in Las Vegas or in Nevada as a whole. And that has a lot to do with the amount of tourists and the amount of really expensive cars that people rent and drive around. So if you drive a really expensive car or you own multiple cars and you're bringing them all to Las Vegas with you when you move here, make sure you factor that into your expenses because you might end up paying more, depending on where you move from. You might end up paying more in car insurance. And that's obviously going to affect your finances. So just think about that before you're coming here. The next con, and this is a big one for a lot of people, the tourists. Las Vegas is a city built and based on the tourism industry. Gambling, food, nightclubs, everything you can imagine, right? Las Vegas is based on the tourist industry. It's based on catering to tourists. So if you don't like tourists, then maybe Las Vegas isn't the city for you. And there are a lot of tourists driving around who don't know the streets. You go down to the strip and you go out to restaurants, you're going to see a lot of tourists. I don't necessarily think tourists are that big of a deal. They're bringing money into the community, into the local businesses, all that sort of stuff. But if you're bothered by tourists and large crowds, that sort of thing, Las Vegas might not be for you. Number 5. And it kind of plays with the tourism industry thing that we just talked about. But Las Vegas is not how would I say this? There aren't a ton of jobs outside of the tourism industry. Yes, if you have an engineering degree or math degree or something that's not directly related to the tourism industry, yeah, of course you can find a job. There definitely are jobs here. There are companies that are manufacturing things. There are factories. There's all sorts of stuff. There's even the only titanium refinery in the Western Hemisphere is right close to Las Vegas. So there's definitely industry here. But compared to like maybe a Pittsburgh or some other city that's not totally based on the tourism industry or didn't grow up based on the tourism industry, if you get what I mean. There are going to be fewer of those type of engineering jobs here. So take that into account. If you're moving here and you're thinking about getting one of those kinds of jobs, or you're going back to school and you're going to graduate and then move here and try to get that kind of a job, make sure you consider that before you make the move here. The sixth con is you're literally living in a desert, which means the primary color of Las Vegas and the surrounding area is brown. It's tan, right? So if that bothers you, if you really like the green of like the Pacific Northwest, of the Northeast, if you like rolling grasslands, things like that, it's definitely a harder thing to find in this state of Nevada. I mean, I wouldn't say you're gonna find that in Las Vegas. There are places near Las Vegas like Mount Charleston and Red Rock, places where you can get into higher elevations, where they have more green and more trees and that sort of thing. But if you really like rainforests, the Pacific Northwest, stuff like that, you really like a lot of green, this might not be the city for you, unfortunately. All right, now let's talk about all the good stuff. Let's talk about the pros of living in Las Vegas. First pro, you can pretty much get whatever kind of food you want, whenever you want it, and however much you want it. Now, it could be expensive, but Las Vegas is built on the tourism industry. So these casinos that are here, all these different restaurants, all these different fancy venues, they cater to tourists because tourists want to come here. They want that Vegas experience. They want to eat crazy food from around the world. They want to eat the buffets. They want to have the most expensive foods, all that sort of stuff. So if you are like a foodie and you really like going to all these sorts of different restaurants all the time, trying different things, trying different coffees, trying different beers, trying different foods, sushi, steak, I mean, you name it, you can get it in Las Vegas. You won't have any problem with that. So if that's something you're looking for in a city, then Las Vegas very well might be the city for you. Next pro, I think it's pro, the heat. I know it was in the cons list before, but now we're going to talk about the pros of the heat. So pros of the heat. First pro, it's so hot, and because we live in a desert, there's very low humidity. So a lot of people who grew up in like Florida or the South in general or the East Coast know that in the summer, the humidity is just unbearable, right? Like it gets so hot, your sweat doesn't even evaporate because there's already so much water in the air around you. It's crazy. If you hate that, then Las Vegas is like up there in cities for you because there is hardly any humidity. There's hardly ever even a cloud in the sky because the heat just bakes them all away. So if that's something you want, Las Vegas is the place to go. Next, you're close to everything. So you're close to San Diego, you're close to Los Angeles, you're close to Sacramento, just a short plane ride away, you're close to San Francisco, you're close to Phoenix, and you're not that far from the rest of the West. You know, McCarran International Airport is the largest airport here in Las Vegas, and you can get flights to Rome, to Japan, to all sorts of places. Anywhere you want in the world, you can get a flight from McCarran International Airport. So if you like to travel, if you like to be close to things, if you're always trying to take advantage, you know, there's cheap flights, and go do like an Airbnb or something like that in some other place for the weekend, Las Vegas could be the city for you because it's really easy to travel and go anywhere here. I mean, that's what makes it so easy for people to come here, right? It's just the opposite. It's easy to get on a plane and it's easy to go somewhere else in Las Vegas. Fourth pro, it is easy to experience all of the seasons in Las Vegas. So winter, spring, summer, and fall. And people think it's just hot here all year round, and it's not. It's warmer, I would say, than most places, but it's not hot all year round. We do get seasons. And if you don't know, Nevada is one of the most mountainous states in the entire country. So if you like to ski and do that sort of stuff, you can still do that in Las Vegas. In fact, there's a ski resort less than an hour away from here up in Mount Charleston. So you can still experience all four seasons. When it's really hot down here, it's cooler up in the Mount Charleston area, like 9,000 feet. You can go do your hiking, you can go do your snowshoeing, you can go skiing, you can do fishing, you can do all sorts of stuff. You can do it year round and you can still experience all four seasons. Now, will the leaves be changing? Yeah, that's a little hard to find, right? Will you get a lot of nice cool fall breezes? Maybe those are a little bit harder to find compared to other places in the country. But like I said, you can still totally experience all four seasons all the time. And I would actually go so far as to say you can experience all 4 seasons at multiple times because you have all these mountains and you can change elevation so quickly just by driving up the mountain. Oh, look, it's 30 degrees cooler. You know, that's a huge thing for a lot of people. I like it. I'm a huge like outdoors hiking guy. I love doing that stuff. It's awesome that you can get out of the city and then bam, it's like a new season. It's cooler. The landscape's all different. The vegetation's all different. It's awesome. You'd love it. So if that's the kind of thing you want, you're all about those 4 seasons, you're all about the outdoors, Las Vegas is for you. 5, your car will last forever. So with low humidity and not a lot of rain, your car really doesn't rust. Cars last for like, I've had my rims painted for like 5 years and there's still no rust on them. The paint is still perfect. Like everything is still perfect because there's not a lot of rain. There's no snow, hardly ever. There's no salt on the roads like there is in the Northeast, Pacific Northwest, like the rest of the country when it snows. So your cars do last a lot longer out here. If you like classic cars, if you like seeing old cars, Las Vegas very well might be the city for you because there are a lot of them on the road. I see them all the time when I'm driving around, like anywhere. Oh, look, there's a classic car. There's a car from the 90s. There's a car from the 80s. There's a car from the 50s. They're not hard to find at all here. So if that's something you enjoy, then maybe Vegas is for you. 6, there's always something to do, right? Because it's a tourist city. So there's always a restaurant open. There's always a casino open. Now, it might be a little different because of COVID now, but at least it used to be, and it will be again. You know, Vegas is coming back, baby. There's always something to do. And there's always like a ton of stuff to do. So if you like getting out, you know, if you don't like sitting on your couch on Friday night and you want to be out and you want to do something new like every weekend or every month, you can totally do that in Vegas. And a lot of stuff you can even do on the cheap, or sometimes it's even free. There's a ton of stuff to do in Vegas. It's a huge city, a ton of people. Once you get integrated in it, I mean, man, you learn everything. You go down to Fremont Street and play blackjack. You can go to that casino and do this. You can go over there and do that. I mean, it's endless. Go-karts, train rides. I mean, I can't even name 1% of the things to do. So if you want to do a ton of stuff all the time, you like never want to do the same thing, Las Vegas is for you. And finally, year-round outdoor activities. I mean, I kind of talked about this already. If you are really big into the outdoors, Las Vegas and like the state of Nevada in general is for you. So if you don't already know, Nevada is like 87% public land, which basically means, you know, that's your land. The federal government owns it, but it's yours. It's public land. So you can go ride your ATVs. You can go fishing. You can go hiking. You can go hunting. You can go camping. I mean, there is a ton of stuff to do out there. You can go horseback riding. What else you can do? I mean, you can go see old mines and old ghost towns out in Nevada. I mean, it's crazy. You can get on dirt bikes or a regular bike or whatever you want and just ride for miles and miles and miles and just keep going and hardly ever cross another paved road. I mean, there's so much to do in this state as far as outdoor stuff, and you can get so far off the beaten path. It's crazy. I love it. So if that's something that's really important to you, then I would definitely consider moving to Nevada. All right, guys, so that is the pros and the cons of moving to Las Vegas. If you're thinking about moving here, if you know somebody that's thinking about moving here, I can totally help you get into a new, beautiful home of your dreams in the Las Vegas area. All you gotta do is reach out to me. My contact information is down below. I would be so thrilled to help you, so happy, so excited. I love Las Vegas. It's a great city. And if you're thinking about moving here, like, look me up. I got your back through the whole process. I'll help you out. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. I post as often as I can. Really looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.